Hi, it's Alex Cosper with SacTV.com. I'm with Chris Goslow, local musician here in Sacramento, although originally from the Bay Area.
Right.
So tell me about your journey from the Bay to Sacramento and how it has intertwined with your musical background.
So funny that you say my journey, because I actually am playing with a Journey tribute band right now.
Really?
And that's part of my journey coming here, because the moment I got here, I joined a cover and tribute band. It was another one, it was a Tom Petty band. And I hadn't done that before. And once I got here, it's funny, it's sort of fitting, because that was one of the new things I got when I got here. And so, but yeah, anyway, a part of my journey here from the Bay to here and musically, well, I grew up in the Bay and I learned music and I learned piano. And especially classical piano was sort of this thing that I thought that I was going to be doing for my whole life. And it is something I'm going to be doing for my whole life, but I don't know that I understood just how broad my interests are. You know, I was sort of brought up to, I guess I just was sort of very studious, and I learned a lot about, when in college I did probably 60% music classes, almost all classical, and I just really got into it. But along the way, not only did I start to find myself like in situations where I was realizing I wasn't making myself happy, but I also started to expand my view of who I am, partly embracing the idea that, well, I think my reason for being alive is what I do, is music, is creativity. I mean, I think of myself as an artist, and creativity in general is something that just really draws me. Of course, my primary way of expressing, I'd say, is in music. But, working with creative people, like you mentioned, and wanting to be around musicians. I mean, I love being around creative people in general, hanging around writers, and my wife's a photographer and a visual artist, and I feed off of that. But at some point I had to realize just how critical it is in my life to be the artist that I am, and not to compromise that. Because at one point I realized, if I can't be who I want to be, then I don't want to be here.
So you don't want to fit into a cookie-cutter formula just to have a hit record, right?
Oh yeah, well that too, yeah. I mean, sure, that's certainly one way to look at it. I think in my particular case, there was a little bit of confusion about art versus a straight job or straight profession.
Okay.
I was very academically minded. I was a good writer. Am a good writer. I was very serious about studies, and learned history, and kind of always been a thinker, interested in thought and thinking. And there's a lot of people, especially in the Bay Area. There's a strong, not only intellectual movement, but there's politics, and there's a lot of thought and a lot of people, a lot of energy around that. And I had to kind of, and I went to UC Berkeley, which is a very kind of politically charged kind of school.
And you majored in what?
In music.
Okay.
So I was clear enough I was doing music. However, I think there was just a little confusion about the fact that my real purpose in life is, it's not other things. It's not academia. It's not like writing about ideas just for the sake of them, or it's not politics. It's even if, you know what I mean? Even if I could be expressive or talk about things that are important to me outside of art, which anybody should be able to do, and that's a part of being alive, I think, fully living, is saying what you need to say, but realizing that my primary thing that I want to do is create art, particularly music, and express it and help entertain and also teach and kind of inspire people with art and what I create, and realizing that that's my primary reason for being. So
has that dream come true as far as making a living off music?
Yeah. I mean, I do make a living off music, and there's I'm still learning.
And you're a teacher. Is that your primary way of making a living, or?
Since moving to Sacramento, yes. However, prior to moving to Sacramento, no. I mean, I did teach back in the Bay, but I also, at one point, I was accompanying in a boy studio, you know, almost full time. Well, it wasn't full time. It was like it was paying for my life, and I was. Let's see. I also at a point I was doing lots of piano shows in the Bay Area, particularly at retirement homes, and I did almost 300 of them in 2010.
And that was classical music?
Well, it was a mix of things. I would go and I knew that. Well, it wasn't all classical. In fact, I'd say it's less than a third classical. But I did play classical. But I would play, standards and, Frank Sinatra, Cole Porter kind of stuff. Because that's what they love. And even though if it was Oh Susanna, I mean, because I played at an Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Center on a weekly basis for over a year. Okay. And in that time, I would just play whatever music they would love to hear, And I would also play some of my music as well. Because I did that on purpose. It was, my piano music. I mean, that was one of the benefits for me as an artist as well. It's great to play music that people love, and at the same time to show my music. And I got a lot of great experience playing for people, and it was also a way to earn money as well. It was just a win-win all around, and a great way to sort of connect with a community that sometimes, that I didn't know much about, retirement homes, and just kind of like going on the inside and wanting to. It felt good to go that route, and I knew it was something that somehow I got the idea that I could do it, and then I just started doing it, and then December of 2010, I remember I had over 30 shows in just a lot of the holiday shows, like all around the Bay, at different, mostly retirement homes. And that year I did almost all retirement home shows. So yeah, I mean, you certainly, I've got several different experiences I've had, professionally.
That's a great way to mix business and pleasure.
Yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the dream, I think, I mean, as an artist who's self-sufficient, is to have both.
Chris, we'll talk more about your music career coming up in some more segments. Thank you.
Sure.